Hi, I'm Evan, and I like to make YouTube videos. Sometimes. I also enjoy playing video games. Sometimes. But I've been playing them casually for as far back as I can remember. My first system was a Super Nintendo, but I've really just been a Sony PlayStation kid after that. While I haven't owned that many systems or played that many video games, I'm still compelled to tell you about all my favorites for some reason. So, welcome to Evan RX's Top 11 Favorite Video Games of All Time. Why top 11? Because I like stealing other people's bits. Let's get started. Number 11, Half-Life 2 from the Orange Box on the PlayStation 3. This one barely made the cut, but as I get older, I truly miss playing the game for the first time more and more. Never having a computer that could run anything outside of Minesweeper, I was always envious of my friends who had been playing this awe-inspiring cinematic game for years. When I finally got my hands on the Orange Box, I was hooked. The gritty realism mixed so well with the futuristic but easy to relate to characters. Low-key, I'm almost excited with the prospect that this phenomenal shooter might never get another sequel. Valve created this masterpiece and ended the whole thing on a cliffhanger. It takes some balls to pack it up just when the iron gets hot and really leaves the game's what happened ending up to the fans. Until Episode 3 actually does get released. Someday. Number 10, Animal Crossing New Leaf on the Nintendo 3DS. This game made me get and, in turn, want to throw away my 3DS. It stole months away from me, even if I only played for less than an hour a day. Gathering money from rocks, catching up with townsfolk, or catching rare bucks and selling them off. Fuck the museum, I'm rich. This game helped me relax and fall into a formulaic but comfortable game state. With thousands of things to collect regarding your house, town, and clothing, and about that many potential neighbors to meet, this game will thrive long into the life of Nintendo's next poorly named console. Number 9, BioShock Infinite on the PlayStation 3. I'll come clean, guys. I never beat BioShock 1. I never even touched the second one, and I paid money for it. But that didn't stop me from hungrily stalking the progress of the third in the franchise. The video you're watching now is an E3 teaser from 2012, and the very video that got me hooked on the game. An immersively gorgeous but dystopian cloud city set during the days of our founding fathers. Unfortunately, the finished product wasn't as cinematic and the controls not as lush or creative, but the story backing this game almost made it my game of 2013. Almost. The constant twists and turns of the narrative and characters left me slack-jawed long after the credits rolled, and with a couple DLC episodes tying into BioShock 1 and 2, this steampunk shooter is sure to keep your head in the clouds. Jesus Christ, that was fucking terrible. Number 8, Ratchet Clank Up Your Arsenal on the PlayStation 2. Man, fuck Jak and Daxter, where's their movie, huh? Naughty Dog sucks and Insomniac rules. I even spelled rules with a Z here in the script. I don't fuck around when it comes to R&C. This game was the end-all, be-all for the series, in my opinion. Going to Lando has the story, but the romp around the worlds never left me wanting to replay it as quickly as this entry in the franchise did. I'm a real sucker for customization, and changing the color of your ship was just too much for my little high school mind to handle. I was in love. The guns are fantastic, the humor holds up, and the platforming controls are super tight. I'll always bitch about the plumbing collecting missions, but that didn't stop me from doing them over and over again. Number 7, We Love Katamari on the PlayStation 2. There's definitely a theme of sequels here. We Love Katamari is the sequel to Katamari Damacy, a quirky and rare at the time budget title for the PlayStation 2. You play as the Prince of all Cosmos, tasked with rolling crap up with your big sticky ball in order to rebuild planets, stars, and constellations for your father the king, and for all the fans you both have amassed here on Earth. When I say you roll up crap, I almost mean that literally. You can roll up insects, rodents, sweet treats, action figures, clouds, deities, and even entire land masses in order to reach the height requirement for your Katamari. If you're looking for a simple little mindless game, give this one a whirl. I'm sure you'll have a ball. I'll see you around. Circle. Number 6, Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PlayStation 2. Yep, another direct sequel. This game is what made me realize I may never enjoy the Kingdom Hearts franchise again. KH2 is what a sequel should be. It solved a lot of problems, gave us a few more questions to ask, improved on the gameplay and that goddamn awful camera, and looked better all around. The combat was more interesting, as were the new enemies, the nobodies, which have an amazing backstory of their own. The intro level is a 3-hour tutorial, but it kind of gives you the old bait and switch when it's over. And when it does end and you resume play as our main protagonist Sora, the tutorial King Roxas' re-entry in the storyline is immaculate. However, when I said I may never get back into this series as deeply again, what I really meant is after this game, I felt that Square Enix just started fucking around with the story. Too many plot holes, too many questions that I felt necessary, and weird prequels that I felt led nowhere. Or do they? The game just got too confusing for me, and when a franchise starts branching out into systems I could give a crap about, it's no surprise I lose interest. I have both HD remixes, and maybe I'll go back and try the series chronologically and see how that goes. But there's no way I'm going to play a Tamagotchi simulator in a Kingdom Hearts handheld game. Number 5. Super Mario World / Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo. Well, here we are, a tie. These both being Super Nintendo games and an ironic pairing of iconic characters, it was just too good to pass up. Super Mario World is everything right about the Super Nintendo. This is the highest selling game on the system, and for good reason. The 4th entry in the Super Mario series, you thought it'd just be direct sequels, huh? Introduced not only Yoshi, but amazing graphics, colors, and a soundtrack you'll be humming for decades. I know I have. Donkey Kong Country, the 2nd highest selling game on the system, is another gorgeous looking platformer and has some of my fondest memories of gaming in general. Minecart Carnage, to this day, is my favorite level of any video game ever. The inertia DK II gets while running through a mix of brutish baddies in a crisp 3D-esque world brings binges of nostalgia back to me and to anyone else who grew up with this game. Both of these games are solid, beautiful, and classic. Must-haves for the system, Nintendo fans, and anyone who enjoys a video game in general. Number 4. Tony Hawk's Underground on the PlayStation 2. This was supposed to be another tie, this time between Thug and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, but Underground snuffed it out by the smallest grind rail. Thug took everything amazing about the Tony Hawk series, gravity-defying gaps, rails, and tricks, and added a storyline with even more character and skate park customization than ever before. And for the first time ever, you weren't glued to your skateboard. What? Tony Hawk's Pro Walker? This simple mechanic changed the game forever and was a welcome addition to the franchise. I loved stringing together combos on my board, then cavemaning over to another gap or obstacle. The story wasn't the greatest in the world as a fucking skateboard game, but beating it on increasingly difficult settings allowed me to unlock new characters and fall in love with the game all over again. Number 3. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo. What can be said about this game that hasn't already been said before? It revolutionized the 2D Zelda gameplay and paved the way for all 3D Zelda games afterwards. Sure, it holds your hand a little more tightly with its paint-by-numbers dungeon approach, but I don't mind a little help here or there. Times changed between the cryptic Zelda 1 and Link to the Past. The graphic and audio updates of the SNES just vamped the title tenfold, and the classic weapons and enemies have never looked so great. A Link Between Worlds, the pseudo-remake sequel on the 3DS, was an amazing experience. Being able to see my favorite game look even better in a brand new story from a completely different angle, but the original wins my heart hands down. I've never replayed a game more often in my life. Number 2, Klonoa 2 on the PlayStation 2. Also. There's been Mario, Donkey Kong, Ratchet & Clank, and Link on this list. Lots of big franchise heroes. Then suddenly, a wild obscurity appears. Klonoa, the star of the games using his name, is a mouse/rabbit/Namco animal that jumps, grabs, and uses his enemies as double jumps or button presses, using the power of his Kirby-esque ring to rule them all. Not many know about this hidden gem of a platformer, and even fewer know that it was actually remade on the Nintendo Wii a few years ago. But if you should ever come across this game, pick it up, hopefully for the PlayStation 2. It's sort of hard to find, Not as much as the original of the PlayStation 1, but it's well worth it. A great mix of cuteness, silliness, puzzles, and platforming. This game gets a wahoo out of 10 from me. Let's take a look at some honorable mentions before I reveal what's my number 1 in this list of my top 11 favorite video games of all time.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time? And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows, only time?
And my number 1 is The Last of Us Remastered on the PlayStation 4. Remember what I said about Naughty Dog and how they can suck a dick or whatever? Yeah, no. This title right here washes all negativity I ever had for those guys away. Like, forever. The Uncharted series of games intrigued me, but I never really got into that whole Indiana Jones stuff, and I just never really liked the main character much. More and more Uncharteds kept coming out, a few bundled with PlayStation 3 controllers during the holidays, for God's sakes. They couldn't give these games away. But one day I heard about a new game Naughty Dog had been working on. A friend of mine had been following this game as I did BioShock Infinite. Actually kind of funny, as both protagonists are voiced by the same guy. This game, of course, being The Last of Us. My friend planted the seed in my head, and soon I was looking up every video and theory-written article IGN had to post about the game. I didn't play BioShock because I'm kind of a little girl when it comes to horror. I mean, shit, the jump scare in Infinite pissed me off for days. But The Last of Us seemed to be a different kind of scary. It seemed to be a different kind of zombie game. This game took its time with horror, letting it sink in, fill you with the overarching feeling that you might never get out alive, and that the entire human race has felt that way for 20 years. Every character felt alive and in their spirit, their hopes, dreams, worries, and regrets, and that kept you digging for more information about everyone through dialogues and hidden journals and artifacts. Everyone is out to get you. Humans, clickers. Well, actually, that's kind of it, but the AI on both sides is enough to set any gamer straight. Sure, the game was very different and much more difficult and strategic and unpredictable during demos and teasers, but the game still felt pretty real and immersive to me. Hunters flanked you when they heard the telling click-click of an empty gun, and clickers sauntered up behind other cordyceps-ridden zombies when they knew they could lunge in for that swift kill. Left Behind, a DLC story taking place during and before the main game, was a cute little romp through Ellie's backstory. But the developers promised us new content with no returning characters. We barely got either, which disappointed me immensely, but left the idea that, okay, now they're done with Joel and Ellie's story, and a potential Last of Us 2 may involve some brand new heroes. Ish, anyone? Then there's the multiplayer, and Jesus Christ have I sunk hours into it. It's not perfect or balanced or fun. Wait. No, it is fun. Sorry, I got carried away. It takes the best part about the main game, sneaking, weapons, crafting, and the levels, and pits two teams of 4 against each other in a pseudo-storyline involving raiding an area for useful supplies and killing all enemies before they can take them for themselves. It's honestly a lot of fun. Despite the overpowered guns and lack of clickers anywhere, come on, new DLC drop. The Last of Us got a huge graphical update when it was ported from the PlayStation 3, but the game was such an amazing swan song for the hugely successful system, it barely needed it. If Super Mario World showed us anything, it's the games bundled with consoles usually do pretty well. Last of Us Remastered for the PlayStation 4 now joins those ranks. With everything bundled in, all DLC and shiny new graphics and picture mode, the game is literally a must-have for the system. Like, it comes with it. It's free on the PlayStation 4. What are you doing if you're not playing it now? The characters, story, and multiplayer wash away the somewhat uninspired shooting gameplay, and the relationship between our main characters and their world around them keeps this game from ever showing you a straight path from one point to another. And now all we have to do is await news of a possible sequel and movie. After another goddamn Uncharted game, of course. So that's it. My top 11 favorite video games of all time. The numbers may change around, but this is a pretty solid list of mine. What are some of your faves? Do you agree with any of these games? Would you like to talk about switching to Verizon? Nevertheless, click here to watch more Last of Us videos I do with a friend of mine. I'm pretty into this game, as I said before. If you want, click here that I play some Super Nintendo games with another friend of mine. The channel's kind of debunked, but you should subscribe just in case we ever do come back and play more games. If you didn't catch it at the beginning, I'm EvanRX. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Good night. See you later.